My name is Pastor Hal York, and welcome to Truth in the Trenches. Many of you probably remember a man called Mr. Rogers, who famously sang on every show the song that ended with these words, "Won't you be my neighbor?" Well, I don't know if Mr. Rogers ever read Proverbs, but if he had, he would have discovered that the book of Proverbs has a lot to say about being a good neighbor. There's 22 verses in Proverbs on being a neighbor. Let me give you two of them and then look at the one we want to consider briefly. Proverbs 3:28 says, "Do not say to your neighbor, 'Go and come again, tomorrow I will give it,' when you have it with you." Proverbs 25:17, "Let your foot be seldom in your neighbor's house, lest he have his fill of you and hate you." Now the verse we want to consider for a few minutes is Proverbs 27:14. "Whoever blesses his neighbor with a loud voice, rising early in the morning, will be counted as cursing." Well, what does that mean? Let me give you a silly illustration. I think you probably understand it anyway, but let me just illustrate it with this. You're thinking, I want to do my neighbor a favor. I want to bless them, which is a wonderful thing to think, wonderful ambition to have, to bless your neighbor. So you decide to bless him by mowing his lawn. Again, a very nice thought, a very nice gesture. But if you do it at 5 in the morning, it will not be counted as a blessing. But rather, what did I do to deserve this? As you're driving on your fancy red mower, you see the family standing in the window looking out at this spectacle in their yards. They have young children. The mom is holding the baby you woke up along with the other two toddlers who a few moments ago were sound asleep. Dad's on the phone, no doubt calling in a drone strike on your fancy but very loud red mower. Well, some would say, well, it was the thought that counts. Well, if it's the thought that counts, then one might ask at this point, what were you thinking? This verse and many others like it reminds us of a very important principle when it comes to relationships and living in neighborhoods and surrounded by other people in close proximity. There is a time to bless others, and there is a time to refrain from blessing others. The time to refrain would be early in the morning if you are a morning person, or late at night if you are an evening person. Someone may say, well, that's the only time I can do it. Then you may have to find another way to bless your neighbor. This is where the thinking part comes in really handy. But here's another important verse to remember. Ecclesiastes 3:1. "For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven." Timing and respect are necessary ingredients of showing love and blessing others. The how, when, and why of what we do is important. It matters how we say things. It matters how we do things. It matters when we say things. It matters when we do things. It matters why we say things. And it matters why we do things. Sometimes good intentions hurt more than they help. Why am I doing this? Our motivation matters. Why do I want to bless my neighbor? Make sure your reasons are pure, not selfish. Then ask, when would be a good time for them? And the how question, how could I do this so it would be really helpful, meaningful to this person or family? But remember this, nothing messes up the how and the when more than the why. Genuine, meaningful blessings do not flow from selfish motivations. Just remember that. So timing and respect and thoughtfulness go a long way. So yes, bless your neighbor. Do what you do for their good and for the glory of God. Seek to show the love of Christ so they can see Jesus in you. And Paul says, as much as lies within us, we are to live peaceably with all men. And one step toward maintaining that peace is to heed this warning. Whoever blesses his neighbor with a loud voice rising early in the morning will be counted as cursing. So may we take this simple truth and use it to guide us and guard us as we walk in the trenches of life. May we be a genuine blessing to others for their good and for the glory of God. And remember, Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, "For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven." May God bless you.